This conference, as you mentioned, Gordon, I warned of a pivot point in the cyber threat, a blended threat of nation states and criminal gangs forming alliances of convenience and working together to exploit our own infrastructure against us. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, we continue to confront cyber criminals who enjoy safe haven in authoritarian countries and who wreak havoc in both the digital and physical worlds. In fact, just this morning, the FBI, along with our partners at CISA and the NSA, issued a fresh warning that Russian state-sponsored cyber actors continue to regularly target U.S. defense contractors. Now, this is a challenge that no country can tackle alone. And today, I'll outline new steps the Department of Justice is taking to combat this unprecedented threat. Following the comprehensive cyber review that you mentioned, Gordon, that I launched last year, that review was led by my principal deputy, John Carlin. We are now building on the department's history of success across multiple administrations, and we're adapting old tools to use in new ways, while also designing novel techniques to use in our major cyber investigations. In the last year, for the first time ever, we used a traditional search warrant to execute code and erase digital backdoors, making hundreds of victim computers safe. And in an unprecedented cooperative effort, the FBI and international partners, including Canada, France, Germany, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, Lithuania, Sweden, and Ukraine, all worked together and dismantled the Emotet botnet and released its grip on victim computers. We also took down the world's largest illegal marketplace on the darknet and arrested at least 150 darknet traffickers, thanks to the Joint Criminal Opioid and Darknet Enforcement Team, and thanks to our Europol and Eurojust partners. We must keep pace with the threat actors who exploit innovations as fast as the marketplace produces them. Case in point, the explosion of ransomware and the abuse of cryptocurrency. Today, the FBI is investigating more than 100 different ransomware variants, and prosecutors and law enforcement are targeting dozens of ransomware groups estimated to have caused billions of dollars in damage to victims. So last year, we launched the Ransomware and Digital Extortion Task Force to develop new ways to attack the ecosystem that allows ransomware to flourish. And because arrests are simply not enough, we seized back from criminally controlled wallets $2.3 million of the ransom paid after the Colonial Pipeline attack. And in the wake of the attack on Kaseya, the FBI obtained decryptor keys so victims could unlock ransomed systems. We coupled these innovations with arrests and with criminal charges. And in November, together with several of our international partners, we disrupted the REvil ransomware group with 5 arrests and the seizure of $6.1 million in alleged ransom payments. Ransomware and digital extortion, like many other crimes fueled by cryptocurrency, only work if the bad guys get paid, which means we have to bust their business model. Last week, I announced the largest ever financial seizure in the Justice Department's history. The seizure of over $3.6 billion in stolen Bitcoin and the money laundering and conspiracy charges along with it demonstrates that even in cyberspace, the Department of Justice is able to use a tried and true investigative technique, following the money. It's what led us to Al Capone in the 30s. It helped us destroy La Cosa Nostra in the 60s. And it took down terrorist financing networks in the early 2000s. The currency might be virtual, but the message to companies is concrete. If you report to us, we can follow the money and not only help you, but hopefully prevent the next victim. Now, these success stories are just the beginning of what the department can do. That's why the FBI is forming a specialized team dedicated to cryptocurrency, the Virtual Asset Exploitation Unit. This FBI unit will combine cryptocurrency experts into one nerve center that can provide equipment, blockchain analysis, virtual asset seizure, and training to the rest of the FBI. This unit will join the work of the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team, which I announced last fall. This team combines prosecutors with expertise in money laundering, computer crimes, forfeiture, and regulatory policy to go after those who abuse cryptocurrency to commit crime. Today, that team is staffed with 12 prosecutors, several of whom were integral to last week's record-breaking seizure. And today, it gains its first director, Eun-Young Choi, a seasoned computer crimes prosecutor and a leader in the field. What this last year tells us is that the cyber threats of today demand that we stay nimble and creative to counter the threats of tomorrow. Now, as we evolve to meet this threat, we cannot and do not want to fight this threat alone. Now, this audience knows better than anybody that cyber threats do not respect borders. And it's just like the alliances we formed to fight the battles of the past, our efforts are so much more powerful when combined with those of our international partners. Evolving to match the cyber threat does not only mean new tools and teams within the Department of Justice, it means finding innovative ways to work with our international partners. Now, it's the rare cyber investigation that doesn't have an international dimension. That is why prosecutors handling significant cyber investigations will now be required to consult with the department's international and cybercrime specialists to identify international actions that might be able to help stop a threat. International cooperation will not be an afterthought. Personifying this international focus, we are creating a new Cyber Operations International Liaison. That person's responsibility will be to work with U.S. prosecutors and European partners to up the tempo of international operations against top-tier cyber actors. We will embed this capability in Europe to ensure more connectivity between our law enforcement groups. We are also launching an international virtual currency initiative to combat the abuse of virtual currency. Now, this initiative will allow for more joint international law enforcement operations, more eyes from multiple law enforcement agencies around the world to track money through the blockchain. It will also foster responsible regulation and anti-money laundering requirements to root out the abuse of these technologies. We are issuing a clear warning to criminals who use cryptocurrency to fuel their schemes. We also call on all companies dealing with cryptocurrency. We need you to root out cryptocurrency abuses. To those who do not, we will hold you accountable where we can. To cyber criminals is equally clear. The long arm of the law can and now will stretch much farther into cyberspace than you think. If you continue to come for us, we will come for you.